In a 2015 Jeep Wrangler, we're going to install an OEM remote activated plug-and-play remote starter from WarmCarNow.com. If you order the item, you'll receive it all configured and assembled and ready to go. I'm going to show you the installation procedure. First thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to remove the T15 torque screws from the steering column cover plastic. One located in the back and one on each side in the front. With the screws removed, we're going to remove the steering column cover plastic. Just going to unclip the top, and then we're going to move it out over the ignition switch and remove the cover plastic. This will give us access to the vehicle's immobilizer plug. The immobilizer plug is located right below the ignition switch. We're going to go ahead and we're going to unplug the immobilizer plug by pressing the release clip and pulling out on the plug. We're going to unplug the vehicle's immobilizer plug. We're going to press in the clip, making sure that we don't break the module. We're going to support it while we press the clip in. Once the clip is pressed in fully, this plug will unplug from the immobilizer. Okay, with the vehicle's immobilizer unplugged, we're going to install our remote starting system. We're going to start by plugging our T-harness plug into the immobilizer. We're going to push it in firmly so that it locks. Now we're going to plug the vehicle's immobilizer plug that we've removed into the other end of our T-harness. With this procedure done, we're going to move on to the next step. For the next step, we're going to remove all of the plugs from the EVO wall. We're going to hold the program button down, plug in the 4-pin data plug on the EVO wall. This will make the lights in the front cycle. We want to release on a solid blue. If we miss the first time, it'll cycle back around to blue. We can release on blue. If we make a mistake, we can simply unplug the device and restart the procedure. Plug in the 4-pin, release on blue. Now we're going to plug the remaining connectors into the EVO. The 20-pin, the red plug, and the white plug. At this point, we're ready to begin the programming procedure. We're going to place the OEM key in the ignition and turn the ignition to the run position. Make sure you turn it so that the ignition is actually in the run position and not the accessory position. So we put the vehicle in the run position. The blue light is flashing. We're going to shut the key off and remove it from the ignition. The blue light will continue to flash until we press the closed lock button on the OEM remote. Programming is complete. We can activate the remote starter by locking the doors 3 times. Okay, the vehicle is running in remote start mode. We can go ahead and we can shut it off by pressing the brake pedal down or locking the doors 3 times again. Okay, now we're going to add the MyCar smartphone controller. This will allow us to control our vehicle using our smartphone, and we'll still retain the ability to activate with the OEM remote. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the 4-pin plug from the Evo All. We're going to hold the program button down, plugging in the 4-pin plug, and we're going to let the light cycle till we have a solid red and a solid blue LED lit, and then we're going to release the program button. So we're holding the program button, plugging in the 4-pin. And we've released with a blue and a red LED lit. Now at this point we want to make sure that we've located our data plug that's banded to the neck of our harness. We're going to plug the MyCar Y cable into the data plug that's banded on our unit. Once we do this, we've made all the connections for the telematic smartphone controller. The unit will activate and begin to search for a signal. The unit also has a label to install this side down, so we're going to set it on the dash with the correct side facing down. And we're going to let it acquire a signal while we're programming it. So we've released on blue and red, and we're going to go ahead now and we're going to press and hold the program button down again. The blue and the red light is going to go out. We're going to hold the button down until the blue and the red light comes back on. At this point we'll release the button and the blue and the red light will remain on. Now we're going to take the key and we're going to put it in the ignition, turn the ignition to the run position. We're going to watch the lights. We're going to get a blink to indicate that the MyCar has programmed. The MyCar unit is now programmed to the Evo All. We're going to shut the key off and remove it from the ignition. The Evo is going to exit program mode, and we're going to be able to load up our app and control this vehicle from our smartphone. Okay, I'm going to send a command to start the vehicle. There's our confirmation. Engine is running, and we'll get a runtime indication here back to us that it's going to run for 14 minutes 51 seconds here. We're going to go ahead and shut the vehicle down. Now we're going to do a GPS location of the vehicle. And that's exactly where the vehicle is on the map. Now we also keep the ability to activate by the OEM remote. Now to get this system, remember, WarmCarNow.com. Everything's configured to make it as easy as possible. We're on the passenger side, on the floor area in the front on the right hand kick panel here, and we're looking for this harness right here that runs up from underneath the carpet to this junction block here. We're going to be looking for two wires here. We're going to be looking for a constant 12-volt source to source our parking lights for positive activation from, and of course our parking light activation wire. This is the closest spot to get this in this vehicle. It's another spot out under the hood. I have that in another video. We're going to do this one in the passenger's kick. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove the tape. Okay, so we're testing for constant positive. And here we have a blue wire with a red stripe. We're going to test that. And that is our constant positive. So with the key in the off position, parking lights in the off position, the wire that will illuminate the light is a constant positive. Next, we're going to look for the activation wire. By myself here, I'm just going to turn on the parking lights. Okay, so I'm by myself, so I went over and I turned the parking lights on. You can hear the parking light chime. Our activation wire is white with a violet stripe. Now I pulled the white with violet stripe out, and you must test these wires because there's multiple wires. So I'm going to probe this with the parking lights on, And this should be our parking light activation wire. And as you see, the light will illuminate, giving us an indication that we're on the correct wire. I'm going to go ahead and go over there and shut the parking lights off. So just to recap, our activation wire, white with a violet stripe, and then our constant power is blue with a red stripe. So we're going to apply taps to both of these wires. Okay, we're going to apply our 3M taps to the wires that we've isolated from the wiring harness. Going to be careful. We're going to make sure they go on correctly. I don't want to damage the wires. Okay, we've got our taps in place. Now we can go ahead and we can plug in our relay. We have one side that has the fuse on it. We want to connect this fuse side to the constantly energized wire, or the 12-volt constant. Make sure they plug in, and then we want to connect our remaining wire with a tap end on it to our parking light activation. Now, anytime that this wire receives a negative signal, the lights will activate. Now, if we're outside the vehicle, you'd see them, but you'll hear this relay activate when I touch it to this black wire to ground. That's the parking lights turning on. So now, the last step is to run a wire over to our Evo All and connect to the brown wire with a white stripe off of the 20-pin plug. This wire will provide a negative output when the vehicle is started.